President of the Association of Human Rights and Solidarity for Oppressed Peoples, Mazlumder, Ahmet Faruk Ünsal has said Turkey seriously suffers from lack of freedom of the press, which he said has made a significant contribution to the government's degeneration. When the government is making use of an enormous public power, if you silence the institutions that supervise it, I mean, the free press and the impartial and independent judiciary, you cannot ensure the finances of politics in a transparent way, or the establishment of institutions for checks and balances. This gives the opportunity to the government to influence the masses easily. Today, there is a serious press freedom problem in Turkey. This problem has become more visible over the past 1.5 to 2 years, Ünsal told today's Zaman. Turkey's record on press freedom has worsened, particularly after the eruption of a corruption scandal in December 2013 in which senior members of the Justice and Development Party, AK Party, were implicated. We underwent a process when the government intervened in the major stories of the newspapers and news tickers of TV channels. If the press cannot supervise the government sufficiently, the public is not informed correctly and cannot cast their vote freely when they go to ballot box. The way to prevent any degeneration in the government is to establish a system of checks and balances. If you fail to do so, you are destined to end up like single-party rule sultanate regimes in the Middle East, warned Ünsal. Tapes of phone conversations that were posted online following the eruption of the corruption scandal in 2013 showed how then Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who is the current president, along with some government officials directly interfered in the work of some newspapers and TV stations. They not only prevented these media outlets from voicing any criticism against the government, but they also silenced the voices of opposition parties there. When asked about the circles in Turkey that have been victimized by the policies of the AK Party government during its 13-year rule, Ünsal said, just as with Mazlumder, they have a principle to be on the side of the oppressed no matter who the oppressor is. He said just as Mazlumder once fought for the rights of women who suffered from a widespread headscarf ban, it is also fighting for the young people who were killed during Gezi Park protests in 2013 due to excessive use of force by the police, as well as Kurdish people who are killed in the mountains or cities. The Gezi protests, which were sparked in the summer of 2013 to demonstrate against government plans to demolish Gezi Park in Istanbul's central Taksim neighborhood, resulted in the deaths of 11 people. Then Prime Minister Erdogan was held responsible for the deaths because he ordered the police to use force while he flared up the tensions further with his controversial statements. Responding to another question about whether religious freedom is guaranteed in Turkey today, Ünsal said although the headscarf ban and other invisible barriers in bureaucracy that prevented pious Muslims from assuming high-level posts have been eliminated, problems with other religious groups in the society such as Alevis, Christians still exist. Just because the headscarf ban has been resolved, we cannot say there is religious freedom in Turkey, he said. According to Ünsal, the fact that pious people demote the human rights issue to one of headscarf freedom in Turkey prevents them from seeing other human rights violations. Pious people need to show sensitivity about other issues such as the waste of public resources, public tenders being held in an unfair manner, inequality in income distribution, workplace safety, and deaths. But they don't show sufficient any sensitivity to this effect, he said. When some pro-government civil society organizations took part in a platform and voiced their support to the government through newspaper ads, Mazlumder was not among those groups. Ünsal explained why: we don't give our messages on a political platform. If you do so, even your valuable remarks are seen valueless in the eyes of the opponents. We want to keep our words meaningful. In Turkey, civil society organizations, labor unions, and some media organs took a joint pro-government stance. The civil society should remain civilian. The press should act as a supervisor while labor unions should fight for the employee rights no matter who is in power. We are minding our own work. We close our eyes so as not to see the identity of the oppressed and oppressor.